The spark ignited, awakening to the lost flame. Every drop you waste is a spark of your destiny lost to the void. Imagine it, a single seed, brimming with the potential to birth empires, to forge legends, to awaken gods within men. Yet, in the haze of fleeting pleasure, it slips away, evaporating into nothingness. This is not mere poetry, my brothers and sisters in the quest for sovereignty. This is the raw truth of your essence, the sacred fluid that courses through your veins, the elixir of life itself. In ancient tongues, it was called Jing by the Taoists, the vital essence that sustains the body and fuels the spirit. In Ayurvedic wisdom, it is Ojas, the luminous energy that radiates health, vitality, and unbreakable resilience. And in the Tantric paths, it is the primal Shakti, the coiled serpent at the base of your spine, waiting to rise and illuminate your entire being. But in our modern world, this spark is squandered. We live in an age of endless distractions, where screens flicker with illusions of intimacy, promising ecstasy but delivering emptiness. Porn addiction grips millions like an invisible chain, draining the life force one click at a time. Stress piles upon us like unyielding boulders. Deadlines, debts, the relentless grind of survival, leaving us hollow, disconnected from our true selves. We chase highs that fade, relationships that crumble, and purposes that elude us. Why? Because we have forgotten the ancient art of retention. Semen retention is not about denial or suppression. It is the alchemical transformation of your raw sexual energy into a forge for greatness. It is reclaiming what is yours, turning the fire of desire into the fuel for focus, vitality, creativity, and ultimately, spiritual awakening. Picture this. A young man, let's call him Alex, awakens in a cluttered apartment, the glow of his phone screen the only light in the darkness. His eyes are bloodshot from another night lost to endless scrolling, his body heavy with fatigue that no amount of sleep can cure. He stumbles to the mirror, staring at a reflection that feels foreign, sallow skin, slumped shoulders, a mind fogged by regret. This is the modern warrior's battlefield, not swords and shields, but the subtle war against one's own impulses. Alex represents so many of us, talented, ambitious, yet trapped in a cycle of depletion. He works a job that drains his soul, chases validation through superficial connections, and numbs the ache with habits that promise relief but deliver chains. One fateful evening, as the city lights blur outside his window, Alex encounters a forgotten book on his shelf, a tattered volume on Taoist philosophy. The words leap out. The wise man conserves his Jing, for it is the root of longevity and power. Intrigued, he delves deeper, uncovering stories of ancient sages who lived beyond a century, their bodies vibrant, minds sharp as blades. These were not ascetics hiding from life. They were masters who harnessed life's most potent force. Jing, they taught, is not infinite. It is a finite reservoir, replenished slowly through disciplined living, but depleted rapidly through excess. Semen, as the concentrated form of Jing, holds the blueprint of creation, DNA, hormones, nutrients, all distilled into a sacred essence. Modern science echoes these ancient truths. Consider the biology. Semen is a powerhouse of zinc, calcium, magnesium, and proteins like nerve growth factor, NGF, which promotes brain cell repair and cognitive function. When you ejaculate frequently, you're not just releasing fluid, you're expelling vital resources that your body must then replenish from your bones, muscles, and organs. Studies from neuroendocrinology show that post-ejaculation, prolactin spikes, a hormone linked to satisfaction but also to dopamine crashes, leading to that infamous post-nut clarity turned into post-nut fog. Testosterone, the king of vitality, dips temporarily, affecting muscle mass, energy levels, and mood. But here's the revelation. Abstinence from ejaculation, practiced mindfully, allows these levels to rebound and stabilize. Research published in journals like World Journal of Urology indicates that after 7 days of retention, testosterone can surge by up to 45%, sharpening focus and drive. Alex, our protagonist, decides to experiment. He commits to a week, just 7 days, of retention. No porn, no release, only presence. The first days are a storm. Urges crash like waves against a fragile dam. Memories of past indulgences taunt him. The siren call of digital temptation whispers from his devices, but he breathes through it, drawing on simple techniques he'll later refine. He walks in the park, feeling the earth beneath his feet, reconnecting with the natural world. By day 4, something shifts. Energy bubbles up from within, not frantic but steady, like a river finding its course. His workouts intensify. Weights that once strained him now lift with ease. Ideas flow at work. Creative solutions to problems that stumped him before. This is the biological alchemy at play. In Ayurveda, Ojas is described as the sap of life, built from the finest essences of food, air, and impressions. When conserved, it manifests as radiant skin, strong immunity, and unshakable calm. Modern parallels abound. Intermittent fasting and caloric restriction mimic this conservation, triggering autophagy, the body's self-cleaning process, which boosts longevity. Similarly, semen retention optimizes hormonal balance. Dopamine receptors, desensitized by chronic overstimulation from porn, a phenomenon backed by fMRI studies showing addiction-like brain changes, begin to heal. The result? Heightened motivation, reduced anxiety, and a sense of aliveness that permeates every cell. But let's delve deeper into the metaphors that make this journey vivid. Think of your body as a sacred temple, semen as the holy oil that lamps the inner sanctum. Waste it carelessly, and the light dims. Conserve it, and the flame roars, illuminating paths unseen. Or envision a mighty oak tree. Its seeds hold the potential for forests, but only if planted wisely. Scatter them to the wind, and nothing grows. Nurture them, and empires of green rise. In tantric traditions, this energy is Shakti, the divine feminine force intertwined with Shiva, the masculine consciousness. Retention isn't celibacy, it's transmutation, channeling that Shakti upward through practices like Mula Bandha, root lock, to awaken higher centers. Alex's story mirrors ancient tales. Recall the legend of Hanuman, the monkey god in Hindu epics, who embodied celibacy as brahmacharya. Not mere abstinence, but the conservation of vital energy for heroic feats. He leapt across oceans, lifted mountains, all fueled by retained ojas. In Taoism, the Yellow Emperor's texts speak of returning the essence to nourish the brain, a practice where sexual energy is circulated internally, preventing leakage and promoting enlightenment. Science nods in agreement. Neuroscientists like Dr. Andrew Huberman discuss how dopamine baselines reset during periods of restraint, leading to enhanced executive function, better decision-making, impulse control, and goal pursuit. Yet the modern challenges are relentless. Porn addiction isn't just a habit, it's a pandemic. Statistics from organizations like Fight the New Drug reveal that over 90% of men have viewed porn, with many spiraling into dependency. The brain's reward system hijacked, seeking ever-escalating stimuli, leading to erectile dysfunction, relationship breakdowns, and a profound sense of disconnection. Stress compounds this. Cortisol, the stress hormone, depletes zinc, a key component of semen, creating a vicious cycle. Emptiness follows, that gnawing void where purpose should reside. We scroll endlessly, consume mindlessly, all to fill a hole that only inner mastery can seal. Retention offers the antidote. As Alex progresses, he notices subtle shifts. Sleep deepens, dreams vivid with symbolism. His voice gains depth, presence commands respect. This is the psychological bloom beginning, clarity piercing the fog, willpower forged in the crucible of restraint. But we'll explore that in due time. For now, understand that this journey starts with recognition. You are not your urges. You are the sovereign who commands them. Let us pause here in this awakening phase and reflect. The spark you hold is ancient, potent, divine. Waste it no more. Embrace retention as the first step toward sovereignty, the discipline that turns modern warriors into legends. Breathe in the possibility, feel the energy stir within. This is your birthright, waiting to be claimed. Now, let's ground this in science and story. Biologically, semen retention harmonizes the endocrine system, so testosterone isn't just for muscles. It's the architect of confidence. A study in archives of sexual behavior found that men abstaining for 3 weeks reported increased arousal and life satisfaction. Why? Because the body redirects resources. Instead of expending energy on reproduction, it invests in repair and growth. Human growth hormone, HGH levels rise, aiding muscle recovery and anti-aging. Even the immune system strengthens. With more zinc retained, T-cell production amps up, warding off illnesses. Consider the neurotransmitter symphony. Dopamine, the motivation molecule, stabilizes rather than spiking and crashing. Serotonin, for mood balance, flows steadily. GABA, the calming agent, reduces anxiety. This isn't woo-woo, it's biochemistry. In a world where ADHD diagnoses skyrocket and focus is a rare commodity, retention becomes a natural nootropic. Alex experiences this firsthand. Tasks that overwhelmed him now unfold with ease. He codes for hours without distraction, his mind a laser. But biology intertwines with the ancient. Taoist masters practiced big draw techniques, contracting muscles to pull energy upward during arousal, preventing loss. This mirrors modern biohacking. Kegel exercises strengthen the pelvic floor, improving control and circulation. Ayurvedic herbs like ashwagandha bolster ojas, reducing stress and enhancing vitality. Backed by trials showing cortisol drops of 30%. Stories amplify the message. Recall Hercules, whose labors demanded superhuman strength, mythologically linked to conserved virility. Or modern icons like Nikola Tesla, who channeled his energies into invention, eschewing romantic entanglements. The mind is sharper when not dulled by excess, he might say. Relatable challenges. The entrepreneur buried in emails, the artist staring at a blank canvas, the father juggling family and fatigue, all victims of energy leaks. Porn's grip is insidious, rewiring the brain like drugs, but retention rewires back. Week 1. Withdrawal, irritability. Week 2. Stabilization, energy surges. By month 1, transformation. Practical glimpse. Start with awareness. Track your habits. Journal urges. Introduce breathwork, 4-7 weight, breathing to calm the nervous system. Detox digitally. Block sites. Reclaim time. This is the ignition, the spark kindled. In the parts to come, we'll fan it into a blaze. The forge of will. Crafting the mind's unbreakable steel. The spark has been kindled. Now it must be forged. Within you lies a furnace, a crucible where raw desire is transformed into unbreakable will. Semen retention is not merely a physical act. It is the anvil upon which your mind is shaped, your spirit tempered. In this modern age, where distraction is a thief and doubt a saboteur, the practice of retention becomes your sword, your shield, your sovereignty. This is the psychological battlefield, where clarity is won, confidence forged, and purpose reclaimed from the ashes of chaos. Welcome to the forge of will, where the modern warrior crafts his mind into steel. Return to Alex, our everyman turned aspirant. 7 days into his retention journey, he feels the stirrings of change, energy pulsing through his veins, a flicker of focus piercing the fog. But the true test lies ahead. The urges still come, like wolves circling in the night, testing his resolve. The world outside mirrors his inner struggle. Notifications buzz, deadlines loom, and the weight of modern life presses down. Yet within this crucible, Alex discovers something profound. Retention is not about resisting desire. It's about redirecting it. It's about taking the molten fire of instinct and pouring it into the mold of intention. This is where the psychological alchemy begins. Let's pause to understand the mind's terrain. Your brain is a battlefield, scarred by years of overstimulation. Pornography, with its endless novelty, has rewired neural pathways, desensitizing dopamine receptors. A fact confirmed by fMRI studies in journals like Neuroscience and Biobehavioral Reviews. Each click, each release, floods the brain with dopamine, but like a drug, it demands more to achieve less. The result: a dulled mind, a weakened will, and a life lived in the shadow of potential. But retention reverses this. By abstaining, you allow dopamine receptors to heal, restoring sensitivity. Motivation returns, not as fleeting spikes, but as a steady current. This is the science of willpower. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, becomes your ally. Alex notices this shift by day 10. Tasks that once overwhelmed him, a project proposal, a gym routine, even a difficult conversation, now feel manageable, even invigorating. His mind, once a cluttered attic, begins to resemble a cathedral, spacious, ordered, alive with possibility. This is no accident. Semen retention amplifies cognitive function. Studies like those in Journal of Andrology show that prolonged abstinence, beyond a week, stabilizes testosterone, which enhances executive function, the brain's CEO. Decision-making sharpens, procrastination wanes, and focus becomes a blade. But the psychological benefits run deeper. Consider confidence, that elusive quality that separates dreamers from doers. Testosterone fuels it, yes, but so does the act of mastery itself. Every day Alex resists the urge to relapse. He proves something to himself. I am not my impulses. I am the one who chooses. This is the essence of self-efficacy, a term psychologists use to describe belief in one's ability to succeed. A 2019 study in Psychology of Men and Masculinities found that men practicing abstinence reported higher self-esteem and social confidence. Why? Because discipline breeds pride. Each victory, however small, stacks like bricks in the foundation of your psyche. Let's weave this into a metaphor. Picture your mind as a riverbed, once choked with debris. The detritus of mindless habits, fleeting pleasures, and self-doubt. Retention is the act of clearing the channel, letting the waters of clarity flow. Or imagine a blacksmith's forge. Your sexual energy is the raw ore, heated by discipline, hammered by choice, cooled by patience. The result is a blade of will, sharp enough to cut through fear, doubt, and distraction. Ancient traditions knew this. In Ayurveda, the concept of tejas, mental fire, is linked to ojas, the vital essence preserved through retention. Sages taught that conserving semen sharpens intellect and intuition, allowing one to pierce illusions and grasp truth. In Taoism, the practice of Huan Jing Bu Nao, returning the essence to nourish the brain, was said to enhance memory and insight. Tantric masters went further, channeling sexual energy to awaken Kundalini, the latent spiritual force. These are not mere myths. They are maps of the psyche, pointing to truths science now validates. Alex's journey mirrors these teachings. By day 14, he feels a shift in perception. Colors seem brighter, conversations deeper. He notices details, the texture of a colleague's voice, the rhythm of his own breath, that once passed him by. This is presence, the byproduct of a mind no longer enslaved to instant gratification. Psychologically, this is explained by reduced cortisol, stress hormone, levels, as shown in studies on mindfulness and abstinence. Lower cortisol means less anxiety, more emotional resilience. Alex finds himself less reactive to setbacks. A missed deadline no longer spirals into despair. But the path is not without shadows. Modern challenges, porn, stress, social pressures, are relentless. Porn addiction, as research from Addictive Behaviors notes, affects over 10% of men clinically, with countless more in its grip subclinically. Its impact mimics drug addiction. The brain's prefrontal cortex, responsible for impulse control, weakens, while the limbic system, craving instant reward, grows dominant. Retention flips this dynamic. By denying the limbic system its quick fix, you strengthen the prefrontal cortex, rebuilding self-control. Alex learns this through trial. On day 12, temptation strikes. A late-night scroll, a suggestive ad. His heart races, palms sweat. But he pauses, breathes deeply. 4-7-8 technique. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8, and redirects his focus to a book. The urge passes, leaving him stronger. This is where practical tools enter. Breath work, as Alex discovered, is a cornerstone. Diaphragmatic breathing calms the vagus nerve, reducing arousal and stress. Try this. Inhale deeply through the nose for 4 counts, expanding the belly. Hold for 7. Exhale slowly through the mouth for 8. Repeat for 5 minutes. It's a reset button for the nervous system, backed by studies in frontiers in psychology. Another tool, cold showers. Beyond their shock value, they stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, boosting mood and resilience, per research in medical hypotheses. Alex incorporates these daily, finding they ground him, turning chaotic urges into manageable waves. Meditation amplifies this. A simple practice. Sit upright, close your eyes, focus on the breath at the tip of your nose. When thoughts arise, urges, doubts, plans, observe them without judgment. Let them pass. Studies in Nature. Reviews neuroscience show meditation increases gray matter in the prefrontal cortex, enhancing self-regulation. Alex starts with 10 minutes daily, using apps like Headspace for guidance. By week 3, he notices a stillness within, a space where impulses no longer rule. Physical exercise is non-negotiable. Weightlifting, running, yoga, all transmute sexual energy into strength. Alex hits the gym, channeling restless energy into deadlifts. Science supports this. Exercise boosts endorphins, dopamine, and BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, fostering neuroplasticity. A study in Journal of Sexual Medicine found that regular exercise improves sexual control and confidence. Yoga, with its emphasis on breath and flow, aligns with tantric principles, moving energy upward through poses like cobra and warrior. Diet plays a role too. Ayurveda recommends sattvic foods, whole grains, nuts, fruits, vegetables, to build ojas. Zinc-rich foods, pumpkin seeds, oysters, replenish what retention conserves. Alex swaps processed junk for almonds and spinach, noticing clearer skin and sharper focus. Research in nutritional neuroscience links nutrient-dense diets to better mood and cognition, but let's weave in stories to make this visceral. Consider Arjuna, the archer from the Bhagavad Gita, whose focus was legendary. His teacher, Drona, tested him by placing a bird on a tree and asking what he saw. While others saw branches, sky, leaves, Arjuna saw only the bird's eye. Retention cultivates this laser-like focus. Or think of modern figures like Muhammad Ali, who practiced abstinence before fights, channeling energy into his fists and charisma. "I'm saving my power for the ring," he'd say. These are not outliers. They are exemplars of what's possible when energy is harnessed. The psychological toll of modern life cannot be overstated. Anxiety disorders affect 30% of adults, per the National Institute of Mental Health. Social media fuels comparison, eroding self-worth. Retention counters this by building internal validation. Alex starts journaling, tracking his moods. He writes, Day 15. I spoke up in a meeting today, no hesitation. Felt like my voice carried weight. This is the alpha effect. Not aggression, but presence. Studies in social psychological and personality science show that high testosterone correlates with assertive body language and vocal depth, both of which retention enhances. Yet the journey has pitfalls. Relapses happen. Alex nearly succumbs on day 18, triggered by a stressful day. But he learns. Failure is feedback. He doubles down on tools, meditation, exercise, a digital detox. He deletes apps, sets screen time limits. Research from cyber psychology, behavior, and social networking shows that reducing screen time lowers anxiety and improves focus. Alex replaces scrolling with reading, Stoic philosophy, Taoist texts, feeding his mind instead of draining it. The spiritual dimension begins to peek through. In tantric traditions, retention is a gateway to sublimation, moving energy from the root chakra, Muladhara, to higher centers. Alex experiments with Mula Bandha, a pelvic floor contraction used in yoga. Sitting in meditation, he visualizes energy rising up his spine, a warm current. He feels a tingle at the base of his skull, a glimpse of Kundalini stirring. This isn't mystical fluff, it's neurophysiology. The vagus nerve, stimulated by retention and breathwork, connects gut to brain, fostering intuition. A 2020 study in Frontiers in Neuroscience links vagal tone to emotional regulation and spiritual experiences. By month 1, Alex is transformed. He's not perfect. Urges persist, life still challenges, but he's no longer a victim. He walks taller, speaks clearer, dreams bigger. Colleagues notice, friends comment on his aura. This is the psychological forge at work. Clarity replaces fog, confidence supplants doubt, purpose eclipses emptiness. This is the mind's awakening, the second phase of sovereignty. Retention is your hammer, discipline your anvil. The sparks flying are your thoughts, sharpened into tools of creation. In the parts to come, we'll ascend further into the spiritual heights where energy becomes light. The ascent of spirit. Awakening the divine flame. The spark is kindled, the mind forged. Now, the journey ascends to the realm of spirit, where the raw energy of retention becomes a divine flame, illuminating the path to your highest self. Semen retention is no longer just a practice of body or mind. It is a sacred key to unlocking your soul's potential. Here, in the crucible of discipline, you touch the eternal. The Kundalini stirring, the third eye opening, the divine human awakening. This is the ascent, where the modern warrior becomes a mystic, a creator, a sovereign of spirit. Welcome to the sacred fire that burns within. Alex, our seeker, stands at the threshold of this transformation. 30 days into his retention journey, he feels the physical vitality and mental clarity of his newfound discipline. The fog of distraction has lifted, replaced by a sharpness that cuts through life's chaos. Yet something deeper stirs, a yearning for meaning beyond the mundane. The world, once a blur of deadlines and desires, now hums with subtle energies. Dreams grow vivid, laced with symbols, a serpent climbing his spine, a light pulsing at his brow. These are not mere fantasies. They are the language of the soul, whispering of a greater purpose. Retention has brought him to the edge of the spiritual frontier, where ancient wisdom and modern insight converge. Let us explore this sacred terrain. In the spiritual traditions of the East, semen is more than a biological substance. It is the vessel of Shakti, the primal creative force. In Tantra, this energy resides at the base of the spine as Kundalini, a coiled serpent waiting to rise through the chakras, energy centers that bridge body and spirit. Retention is the catalyst, preserving the vital essence needed to fuel this ascent. The Taoists called this Jing, the root of life, which, when conserved, nourishes Qi, life force, and ultimately Shen, spirit. Ayurveda speaks of ojas as the luminous sap that, when preserved, radiates spiritual charisma, drawing others to your light. These traditions are not relics. They are maps to the divine within, validated by the experiences of countless seekers. Alex feels this intuitively. By day 40, meditation becomes his sanctuary. Sitting in silence, he senses a warmth at the base of his spine, a subtle vibration. This is no coincidence. Tantric texts describe Mola Bandha, the root lock, as a technique to channel sexual energy upward. By contracting the pelvic floor, a practice akin to Kegels, Alex directs the energy inward, preventing its loss. Modern science offers a parallel. The vagus nerve, a key player in the parasympathetic nervous system, connects the pelvis to the brain. Stimulating it through breathwork and retention enhances vagal tone, fostering states of calm and heightened awareness, as noted in Frontiers in Neuroscience, 2020. This is the bridge between biology and spirit, the body as a temple, the mind as a priest, the soul as the deity. The spiritual dimension of retention unveils itself through presence. Alex notices moments of profound stillness. Washing dishes, the clink of plates becomes a symphony. Walking in the park, each leaf seems to pulse with life. This is sattva, the Ayurvedic quality of purity and harmony, cultivated through retention. Ancient texts like the Yoga Sutras describe this as chitta shuddhi, purification of the mind, where the veil of illusion thins, revealing the interconnectedness of all things. Science echoes this. Meditation and abstinence reduce activity in the default mode network, DMN, the brain's ego center, fostering a sense of unity per studies in Nature Review's Neuroscience. Alex feels less like an isolated self and more like a thread in the cosmic tapestry. But the ascent is not without challenges. The modern world is a spiritual desert. Materialism reigns, reducing life to transactions and metrics. Social media amplifies the ego, feeding comparison and division. Pornography, as Psychology Today reports, not only rewires the brain but numbs the soul, replacing intimacy with simulation. Alex faces these daily. A co-worker's cynicism, a newsfeed of despair, the lingering pull of old habits. Yet retention becomes his anchor. Each moment of restraint is a prayer, each urge transmuted a step toward awakening. Let's weave a metaphor to ground this. Picture your soul as a dormant volcano, its molten core your sexual energy. Waste it in the mountain slumbers, cold and silent. Conserve it, and the volcano stirs, its lava rising to erupt as light, power, vision. Or imagine a lotus in your spine, its roots in the pelvis, its petals at your crown. Retention waters the roots, allowing the flower to bloom, each petal a revelation of your divine potential. These images are not mere poetry. They are archetypes etched in the collective unconscious, guiding seekers across millennia. Ancient stories amplify this truth. In Hinduism, Shiva, the destroyer and creator, embodies celibacy as brahmacharya, channeling his energy into cosmic dance. His third eye, awakened through discipline, burns through illusion. In Taoism, the Yellow Emperor practiced retention to achieve immortality, his spirit ascending to the stars. These are not myths to dismiss, but mirrors of possibility. Modern parallels exist. Think of Leonardo da Vinci, who, historians suggest, practiced celibacy to fuel his genius. His notebooks brim with visions, machines, anatomy, art, born of a mind unclouded by excess. Retention is the artist's palette, the mystic's prayer, the warrior's creed. Alex's spiritual practice deepens through tools rooted in tradition and science. Pranayama, breath control, becomes his lifeline. He adopts nadi shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. Close the right nostril, inhale through the left for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale through the right for 6. Reverse and repeat. This balances the nervous system, harmonizing the Ida and Pingala, lunar and solar energies, per yogic texts. A 2018 study in Journal of Clinical Medicine confirms it reduces stress and enhances focus. Alex practices this before meditation, feeling his mind settle like dust after a storm. Visualization is another key. In tantric practice, he imagines a golden cord rising from his pelvis to his crown, carrying energy upward. This mirrors microcosmic orbit meditation in Taoism, where Jing is circulated through the spine's energy channels. Neuroscientifically, visualization activates the brain's reticular activating system, RAS, priming it for insight and intuition, as seen in Journal of Cognitive Neuroscience. Alex visualizes his goals, a creative project, a deeper connection with others, and finds them manifesting with uncanny ease. Mantra chanting adds resonance. He adopts Om, the primal sound, vibrating in his chest. Vedic texts say sound aligns the chakras. Science agrees, noting in Frontiers in Psychology that chanting boosts oxytocin and vagal tone, fostering peace. Alex chants for 10 minutes daily, his voice growing steadier, his presence magnetic. Colleagues notice his calm under pressure. Friends feel his warmth. The spiritual benefits manifest as charisma, not mere charm, but a radiant authenticity. Ayurveda calls this tejas, the glow of inner fire. Studies in social, psychological, and personality science link high testosterone, stabilized by retention, to nonverbal cues like upright posture and steady eye contact, which others perceive as leadership. Alex, once shy, now holds space in conversations, his words carrying weight. This is the aura mystics describe, grounded in biology. Retained semen preserves zinc, vital for skin health, giving a literal glow, per Journal of Trace Elements in Medicine and Biology. But the spiritual ascent is not all light. Shadows emerge, doubts, fears, the ego's resistance. Alex faces moments of existential unease. What is this all for? The modern world offers no answers, only noise. Yet retention teaches surrender. In meditation, he observes these thoughts, letting them pass like clouds. The Upanishads call this neti-neti, not this, not that, the process of negating illusions to reveal truth. A 2021 study in mindfulness shows that non-attachment reduces anxiety, aligning with this ancient wisdom. The Kundalini experience beckons. By day 60, Alex feels subtle currents in his spine, like electricity humming. Tantric texts warn Kundalini is potent, requiring preparation. Retention builds the foundation, but practices like asana, yoga postures, and kriya, energy cleansing, stabilize it. Alex adopts spinal twists and cobra pose, opening energy channels. A Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine study notes, Yoga enhances parasympathetic activity, preparing the body for spiritual states. He avoids forcing the process, heeding warnings of overwhelm if Kundalini rises prematurely. The third eye, Ajna chakra, begins to stir. Alex notices flashes of intuition, knowing who's calling before the phone rings, sensing a friend's distress unspoken. In Vedic lore, the third eye is the seat of wisdom, activated by conserved energy. Neuroscience offers a clue. The pineal gland, linked to the third eye, produces melatonin and DMT, molecules tied to sleep and mystical experiences. Retention, by reducing stress, may optimize pineal function, per speculative research in medical hypotheses. Alex journals these moments, grounding the mystical in the practical. Modern challenges persist. Consumerism tempts with instant gratification. Cynicism mocks spiritual pursuit. Porn's pull lingers, a shadow of old neural pathways. But Alex counters with community. He joins a men's group, sharing his journey. Studies in American Journal of Men's Health show social support boosts adherence to lifestyle changes. His group discusses retention, purpose, and meaning, creating a sacred space amidst modernity's chaos. Relatable struggles ground the narrative. The entrepreneur, drained by endless hustle, finds renewal in retention's stillness. The artist, blocked by self-doubt, channels energy into creation. The father, stretched thin, discovers patience through discipline. Retention is universal, a path for all seeking more than survival. By month 3, Alex is a beacon. His presence calms rooms, his ideas inspire. Dreams reveal archetypes, a wise elder, a radiant goddess, guiding him. This is the spiritual awakening, not escape, but embodiment. He lives in the world but is not of it, a warrior mystic wielding retention as his staff. This is the spiritual ascent, the third phase of sovereignty. Retention is your prayer, discipline your altar. The flame within burns brighter, guiding you to divine potential. In the parts to come, we'll weave these threads, body, mind, spirit, into practical mastery. The alchemy of mastery, transmuting energy into creation. The spark is kindled, the mind forged, the spirit awakened. Now the journey turns to mastery, the art of transmuting raw energy into creation, purpose, and impact. Semen retention is no longer just a practice. It is the alchemical forge where your sexual energy becomes the fuel for extraordinary living. This is not about suppressing desire, but channeling it into art, innovation, relationships, and a life of meaning. Here, the modern warrior becomes a creator, a leader, a master of his destiny. Welcome to the alchemy of mastery, where every choice shapes your legacy. Alex, our seeker, stands at the precipice of this transformation. 90 days into his retention journey, he's no longer the man who stumbled through life, drained by distraction and doubt. His body hums with vitality, his mind cuts like a blade, and his spirit glimpses the divine. Yet, the true test of retention lies not in isolation, but in action, in how he brings this energy to the world. The city around him is a crucible. Deadlines press, temptations lurk, and the noise of modern life threatens to drown his inner fire. But Alex has learned to harness his energy, to direct it with intention. This is the phase of integration, where the physical, psychological, and spiritual converge into a life of purpose. Let's explore this alchemical process. In ancient traditions, sexual energy was revered as the source of creation itself. The Taoists spoke of Jing as the seed of life, to be cultivated and transformed into Qi, the energy of action, and ultimately Shen, the light of spirit. In Tantra, Shakti is the divine feminine force, not to be squandered but sublimated through practices like pranayama and bandhas to fuel higher consciousness. Ayurveda teaches that ojas, when preserved, becomes tejas, the radiant fire of charisma and creativity. These are not abstract concepts, but practical blueprints for turning raw potential into tangible results. Alex embodies this. By day 90, his energy is palpable. He wakes at dawn, his mornings no longer lost to grogginess. He journals, exercises, meditates, a ritual honed over months. His creative output soars. A side project, a novel he'd shelved for years, begins to take shape. At work, his ideas spark innovation. Colleagues seek his input, drawn to his clarity. This is no accident. Retention amplifies dopamine baseline, as neuroscience confirms. Journal of Neuroscience, 2020. Sustaining motivation for long-term goals. Unlike the fleeting highs of indulgence, this is steady, purposeful drive. Science grounds the alchemy. Semen retention conserves vital nutrients, zinc, magnesium, proteins, that fuel cognitive and physical performance. Zinc, critical for testosterone synthesis, supports muscle growth and mental clarity per Journal of Trace Elements in Medicine and Biology. Testosterone, stabilized after weeks of retention, enhances risk-taking and creativity, as shown in psychoneuroendocrinology. The brain's prefrontal cortex, strengthened by discipline, governs impulse control and planning, per Nature Reviews Neuroscience. Alex's newfound productivity isn't magic. It's biology, optimized by choice. But mastery requires more than biology. It demands practice. Let's weave a metaphor to make this vivid. Picture your sexual energy as molten gold, molten and formless in the crucible of your body. Waste it, and it spills, lost forever. But with retention, you become the alchemist, pouring this gold into molds of your choosing, a painting, a business, a legacy. Or envision a river, its waters wild and untamed. Retention builds a dam, channeling the flow into turbines of creation, lighting up your life and the world around you. Alex's tools are both ancient and modern. Breathwork remains his anchor. He refines Kapalabhati, rapid, forceful exhales, followed by passive inhales, to ignite energy. This skull-shining breath, per yogic texts, clears mental fog and boosts vitality. A 2019 study in Journal of Clinical Medicine confirms it increases cerebral oxygenation, enhancing focus. He practices for 5 minutes before writing, feeling ideas flow like water. Visualization evolves into a cornerstone. In tantric practice, Alex visualizes his energy as a golden flame, rising from his pelvis to his heart, then his mind. This mirrors the Taoist microcosmic orbit, circulating Jing through the body's energy meridians. Neuroscientifically, visualization primes the brain's reticular activating system, RAS, filtering stimuli to align with goals, per Journal of Cognitive Neuroscience. Alex pictures his novel's scenes, and pages fill effortlessly. Physical movement is non-negotiable. He deepens his yoga practice with warrior poses and inversions, channeling energy upward. Inversions like headstands increase blood flow to the brain, boosting cognition, per Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine. Weightlifting remains a ritual. Each rep transmutes restless energy into strength. A 2021 study in Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research links resistance training to improved mood and confidence, amplifying retention's effects. Diet refines further. Alex embraces Ayurvedic principles, prioritizing sattvic foods, quinoa, almonds, fresh fruits, to build ojas. He adds adaptogens like ashwagandha, which reduces cortisol and boosts testosterone, per Journal of Ethnopharmacology. Hydration becomes ritualistic. Water infused with lemon and Himalayan salt supports cellular health. Nutrition science backs this. A 2020 study in nutritional neuroscience links nutrient-dense diets, to enhanced cognitive flexibility. The modern world tests this mastery. Consumerism pushes instant gratification. Social media breeds comparison. Porn remains a shadow, its neural pathways lingering. Alex counters with digital detoxes, limiting screen time to 2 hours daily. Research in cyber psychology, behavior, and social networking shows reduced screen exposure lowers anxiety and improves focus. He replaces scrolling with creation, writing, sketching, even learning guitar. Each act is a transmutation, turning raw energy into art. Community becomes his crucible. Alex's men's group evolves into a brotherhood, sharing insights on retention and purpose. Social support, per American Journal of Men's Health, strengthens adherence to lifestyle changes. They challenge each other. One launches a business, another trains for a marathon. Alex's novel becomes a group project, with feedback sharpening his prose. This mirrors ancient traditions, tantric circles, Taoist monasteries, where seekers supported each other's ascent. Stories make this visceral. Recall Arjuna from the Bhagavad Gita, whose discipline transformed him into a warrior poet, his arrows guided by divine vision, or Nikola Tesla, whose celibacy fueled inventions that lit the world. Modern examples abound. Athletes like Mike Tyson, who practiced abstinence before fights, channeled energy into victory. "I save my strength for the battle," he said. Retention is the artist's brush, the inventor's spark, the leader's vision. Alex's creativity blooms. His novel, once a vague dream, now has chapters, characters breathing life. He paints, too, bold strokes reflecting his inner fire. This aligns with tantric principles. Sexual energy, when sublimated, fuels Ika Shakti, the power of will to create. A 2022 study in Creativity Research Journal links dopamine stability via retention to divergent thinking, the root of innovation. Alex's ideas flow not from force, but flow, like a river finding its path. Relationships deepen. Retention enhances presence, making Alex a better listener, friend, son. Tantra teaches that conserved energy radiates love, not lust. Studies in Journal of Social and Personal Relationships show that emotional presence strengthens bonds. Alex's conversations shift, less about complaints, more about dreams. His authenticity draws others. A co-worker confides in him. A friend seeks his advice. This is Tejas, the magnetic glow of inner fire. Challenges persist. A stressful week, a project deadline, a family argument tests his resolve. Urges resurface, old habits whispering. But Alex has tools. He journals. Day 95. Felt the pull, but chose to run instead. 5 miles, and the urge vanished. Exercise transmutes energy, per Journal of Sexual Medicine. He doubles down on meditation, using metta, loving kindness, visualizing goodwill for himself, then others. A 2020 study in mindfulness shows metta reduces stress and fosters connection. The spiritual thread weaves through. Alex's Kundalini experiences deepen. Subtle currents in his spine, moments of bliss in meditation. He avoids forcing it, respecting tantric warnings. Energy rises when the body is ready. He practices Kriya Yoga using Ujjayi breath, ocean breath, to stabilize energy. A 2018 study in International Journal of Yoga confirms Kriya enhances autonomic balance, preparing the nervous system for spiritual states. The third eye sharpens. Alex's intuition grows. He senses opportunities, a job offer, a creative collaboration before they materialize. The pineal gland, linked to the third eye, may play a role, per medical hypotheses, as retention optimizes melatonin production, enhancing insight. He dreams of archetypes, a king, a sage, guiding his path. These are signs of awakening, not to escape life, but to live it fully. Relatable struggles ground the narrative. The entrepreneur, buried in hustle, finds clarity through retention, launching a venture with focus. The artist, once paralyzed by doubt, paints masterpieces, energy unleashed. The father, stretched thin, becomes a rock for his family, patience born of discipline. Retention is the universal key, unlocking creation in all. By month 4, Alex is a force. His novel nears completion. His presence commands respect. He mentors others in his group, sharing tools. This is mastery, not perfection, but progress. He lives with intention, each day a brushstroke on the canvas of his life. This is the alchemy of mastery, the 4th phase of sovereignty. Retention is your crucible, discipline your flame. The energy you conserve becomes the art you create, the legacy you leave. In the final part, we'll forge the path of sacred mastery, where all threads unite. The path of sacred mastery, embodying the sovereign self. The spark is kindled, the mind forged, the spirit awakened, the energy transmuted. Now the journey culminates in sacred mastery, the embodiment of your sovereign self. Semen retention is no longer a practice, but a way of being, a sacred vow to live as the creator of your reality. This is the path where body, mind, and spirit unite, where every choice aligns with purpose, where you become a beacon of light in a world of shadows. Here, the modern warrior transcends, becoming a sage, a visionary, a sovereign of the divine human potential. Welcome to the path of sacred mastery, where you claim your birthright and shape the world. Alex, our seeker, stands at the summit of his journey. 6 months into retention, he is unrecognizable from the man who once stumbled through a fog of depletion. His body radiates vitality, his mind is a blade of clarity, his spirit communes with the infinite, and his creations, a novel, a renewed career, deeper relationships, bear the mark of his transformed energy. The world remains a crucible. Temptations persist, chaos swirls, and the weight of modern life tests his resolve. But Alex is no longer swayed. He has woven the threads of retention into a tapestry of mastery, living with intention, power, and grace. This is the final phase, where discipline becomes devotion and the warrior becomes whole. Let us walk this sacred path. In ancient traditions, mastery is not domination, but harmony, the alignment of body, mind, and spirit with the cosmic order. The Taoists call this Wu Wei, effortless action, where conserved Jing fuels a life of flow. In Tantra, it is the union of Shiva and Shakti, consciousness and energy, creating a divine dance of creation. Ayurveda speaks of sattva guna, the quality of purity that radiates through a life lived in balance. These are not mere ideals, but lived realities, attainable through the disciplined alchemy of retention. Alex embodies this. By month 6, his life is a symphony of purpose. His novel, now complete, is submitted to publishers, its pages infused with the fire of his journey. At work, he leads projects with quiet authority, his ideas sparking change. His relationships with family, friends, his men's group are deep, authentic, rooted in presence. This is no coincidence. Retention has optimized his biology. Testosterone surges, dopamine stabilizes, cortisol drops, per studies in Journal of Andrology and Psychoneuroendocrinology. But beyond biology, it has awakened his soul, aligning him with a higher calling. Science and spirit converge here. Retention preserves zinc, magnesium, and proteins, fueling physical and mental resilience, per Journal of Trace Elements in Medicine and Biology. Testosterone, sustained at peak levels after months, enhances confidence, creativity, and leadership, as shown in social, psychological, and personality science. The brain's prefrontal cortex, honed by discipline, governs long-term vision per nature, reviews neuroscience. Yet, the spiritual dimension elevates this. Kundalini flows, the third eye sees, and ojas radiates as charisma. Alex's presence, once dim, now commands rooms, a living testament to Tejas, the fire of mastery. Let's weave a metaphor to make this visceral. Picture yourself as a sacred temple, its foundation your body, its pillars your mind, its spire your spirit. Retention is the oil that keeps the eternal flame burning, illuminating the world. Or envision a cosmic forge, where the molten gold of your energy is shaped into a crown, not of ego, but of sovereignty. Every choice to retain, to create, to rise above temptation is a hammer strike, forging you into a king, a sage, a creator. Alex's tools are now second nature. Breathwork is his prayer. He masters anapanasati, mindfulness of breath, sitting for 20 minutes daily, observing each inhale and exhale. This anchors him in the present, aligning with Buddhist teachings and backed by frontiers in psychology, which shows mindfulness enhances emotional regulation. He uses Bastrika, bellows breath, for energy surges before creative work, increasing cerebral blood flow per Journal of Clinical Medicine. Meditation is his sanctuary. He deepens into vipassana, observing sensations without attachment, per the Yoga Sutras. This mirrors neti-neti, negating illusions to reveal truth. A 2021 study in mindfulness confirms vipassana reduces anxiety and fosters clarity. Alex's meditations reveal insights, a plot twist for his novel, a way to resolve a workplace conflict, his microcosmic orbit practice, circulating energy through spine and heart, aligns with Taoist alchemy, enhancing intuition per Journal of Cognitive Neuroscience. Physical practice is worship. Alex's yoga evolves into Kriya Yoga, using Ujjayi breath and bandhas to channel energy. Poses like Sirsasana, headstand, and Matsyasana, fish pose, open higher chakras, per International Journal of Yoga. Weightlifting remains a ritual, each lift a transmutation of energy into strength. A 2022 study in Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research links exercise to improved self-efficacy, amplifying retention's effects. Diet is sacred. Alex refines his sattvic approach, incorporating ghee and turmeric for ojas, per Ayurvedic texts. Adaptogens like Shilajit boost vitality, backed by Journal of Ethnopharmacology. He fasts intermittently, aligning with autophagy research in cell metabolism, which shows cellular renewal enhances longevity. Hydration, with herbal infusions like Tulsi, supports clarity, per nutritional neuroscience. The modern world remains a gauntlet. Consumerism tempts with instant gratification. Social media breeds division. Porn's shadow lingers, but Alex is vigilant. He uses digital minimalism, per cyber psychology, behavior, and social networking, limiting screens to essential tasks. He replaces scrolling with creation, writing, mentoring, community service. His men's group grows, a sacred circle mirroring tantric sanghas. Social support, per American Journal of Men's Health, sustains his commitment. Stories anchor this truth. Shiva, in Hindu lore, channels Shakti into creation, his dance shaping worlds. Lao Tzu, the Taoist sage, lived in Wu Wei, his conserved Jing birthing wisdom that endures. Modern icons like Steve Jobs, rumored to practice periods of celibacy, channeled energy into innovation. Stay hungry, he said, echoing retention's discipline. Alex's novel, now gaining publisher interest, is his dance, his wisdom, his legacy. Creativity is the fruit of mastery. Alex's writing flows effortlessly, his imagination unbound. Tantra calls this Kriya Shakti, the power to act creatively. A 2022 study in Creativity Research Journal links dopamine stability to divergent thinking. Retention provides the fuel. He paints too his canvases bold with color, reflecting his inner fire. His creations inspire others. A colleague starts a podcast, a friend writes poetry. This is the ripple effect of mastery. Relationships are the crucible of love. Retention makes Alex present, his energy radiating compassion, not lust. Tantra teaches that conserved Shakti fuels Bhakti. Devotion. Studies in Journal of Social and Personal Relationships show presence strengthens bonds. Alex reconciles with his father, listens to his mother's stories, mentors his group. His charisma, rooted in tejas, draws others naturally, per social psychological and personality science. Challenges remain. A rejection letter for his novel stings. A workplace conflict tests patience. Urges flare, but Alex transmutes them. He runs, journals, meditates. Day 180. Felt the pull, chose to create instead. Wrote a chapter. Exercise channels energy per Journal of Sexual Medicine. Metta meditation, sending love to self, others, all beings, anchors him, reducing stress per mindfulness. Relapses, if they occur, are lessons, not failures. He rises, stronger. The spiritual pinnacle shines. Alex's kundalini flows steadily, a warm current up his spine, moments of bliss in meditation. He respects its power, using Kriya to stabilize, per Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine. His third eye sharpens. Intuitions guide decisions, dreams reveal truths. The pineal gland, optimized by retention, may enhance DMT production per medical hypotheses, fostering mystical states. Alex feels connected to all, a tree, a stranger, the stars. Relatable struggles ground the path. The entrepreneur, once lost in hustle, leads with vision. The artist, once blocked, creates masterpieces. The father, once overwhelmed, becomes a pillar. Retention is the key, unlocking sovereignty for all. By year's end, Alex is a sovereign. His novel is published, his career thrives, his relationships deepen. He teaches others, sharing tools of retention, breath, creation. This is sacred mastery, living as the divine human, shaping a world of light. This is the path of sacred mastery, the culmination of sovereignty. Retention is your vow, discipline your legacy. You are the spark, the forge, the flame, the creator. Rise, warrior, and shape the world.